Hello, I am Annurag Srivastava and today I am here to explain you the concept of 8 discipline of problem solving. This session is useful for all the people involved in problem solving exercise and reporting it out to the internal or external customer. In this session, I will take you through what is 8D and its history, the requirements of each and every step of 8D problem solving methodology to build your understanding on this very important tool. So without any further delay, let's start. So what is a AD? AD is a highly disciplined problem solving approach and its purpose is to identify, correct and eliminate the chronic and recurring problems. This approach uses team synergy and provides a logical structured pattern to analyze and identify the root cause, implement interim containment action and permanent corrective action to prevent reoccurrence. As you are able to eliminate the problem by taking robust permanent corrective action based on the detailed analysis of the concern to identify the actual root cause, it helps you to bring in product and process improvements. 8D methodology, despite what is generally thought of, has not been created by Ford but by US Department of Defense in the year 1974. The standard which described 8D was named MIL Standard 1520 Corrective Action and Disposition System for Non-Conforming Material. This standard was officially closed down in the year 1995 and later it was Ford who brought the 8D methodology in the automotive industry. Now the big question is why the defects gets generated. What is the reason due to which the process gets deviated and starts producing defective parts? The reason for this is variation. Yes, process variation. This is what causes the process to behave differently than what it is supposed to do, and the end product is not as per specification. Let's understand the variation concept in detail. Variation is something natural and inherent in the world around us. We see that no two products or service experience are exactly the same. There is some minor difference, one or the other, in the two similar products. So, what is the reason of this variation? The factors that contributes to variation are man, machine, material, methods, measurement, and Mother Nature. Process variation can be classified into two categories. First is common cause variation and the other is special cause variation. To explain these two types of variation, assume there is a scenario where a man is climbing a steep slope and in normal condition he takes half an hour to go up. Now in the next scenario, the same man has to drag a load of 100 kg as he tries to move up the steep slope. Now, will he get to the top in half an hour? Probably not. The difference in the two scenarios is the extra load which the person is now carrying, which results in the time variation. And this is a special cause or abnormal or unexpected thing which caused induced into the process. And combination of these two variations gives you the total process variation. High level of problem solving tools like Six Sigma are used to work on the common cause variation issues, and special cause variation issues are addressed through 8D problem solving methodology. Why 8D is used for problem solving? The first reason is it's a structured problem solving approach. By following the 8 steps of this methodology helps in robust problem resolution. Second is it's a time bound exercise to resolve the concern on priority. The third is it prevents you to jump to a conclusion. And the fourth is being a data driven methodology, it helps you to identify the root cause and take decision to prevent reoccurrence of the issue. So what is the linkage between IATF 16949 and ED? If you go by the Quality Management System Standard IATF 16949 2016, there are several places which calls for the application of AD. The clauses are Clause 10 for improvement, Clause 10.2 non-conformity and corrective action, Clause 10.2.3 for problem solving, Clause 10.2.6 for customer complaints and field failure test analysis. We have understood the basic background about 8 disciplines of problem solving, and now it's time to understand the 8 steps in the AD methodology in detail. D0 is the initial start of the process. It speaks about taking emergency response action, also known as ERA. D0 is in response to a customer symptom. A symptom is something which customer is seeing or feeling. For example, part not fitting in the final assembly or rust observed in the parts. Emergency response action protects your customer from the symptom, which is a very key requirement of this step. ERA may include recalling all stocks, or it can be increased gauging and inspection. Here the important point to consider is that any action taken as an emergency response action should be properly verified and validated before implementation. The ERA should not introduce any secondary concern. So in D0, the main activities that you need to do are define and quantify the symptom. The second is identify the customer and other affected parties. And third, most important, protect the customer. D1 step is related to establishing the team. To attain any success, the importance of a good team is of prime importance, where each of the team member complement each other with their individual skill set to achieve the common goal. People can brainstorm, think creatively, and find better ideas as a team. Depending on the problem complexity and the size of the organization, the team is defined. The team consists of a champion who is the owner of the problem and has authority to implement actions and provide support to the other team members in problem resolution. Team leader task is that he is responsible to set the objectives and tasks, direct the use of AD methodology, coordinate for the meeting discussion and with the champion. Team members are the ones who carries out the task and provide the technical inputs. The second step in the AD problem solving is D2, and it is related to describing the problem. This is a very important step in the complete process, as process well defined is half solved. It is a process for digging down into the problem and determine the exact nature of the problem. It gives you an answer what is wrong with what. Problem description is done in 2 phases. The first phase talks about problem statement. Problem statement is a simple and brief statement which identifies the object and nature of the defect. The problem statement is derived by asking what is wrong with what and then testing it with repeated why. The second phase is problem description. In this, you amplify the problem statement with the help of 5W2H analysis, also known as is not method. Typically, is not analysis looks like this. Here you can see the 5W2H have been broken down into several questions like what object, what defect, where in the object, where first observed, and so on. This step by step bifurcation helps you to do a detailed analysis. The third step in the AD problem solving is D3, which is related to developing interim containment action. It is like a band-aid approach to prevent the effect of the problem from impacting the customer. Now, with the understanding of the concern and with the additional information which we have received, there is a need to define, verify, and implement a more robust and cost effective interim containment action. As up till now, we are protecting the customer with emergency response action, and the emergency response action may not be the most cost effective solution because up till now we were only focused to protect the customer. There are also situations where an interim containment action can also be an extension of an emergency response action developed in a more refined and efficient way. As mentioned during emergency response action step, during interim containment action step, also care has to be taken to verify and validate the actions to get intended results before actual implementation. And agreement should be done with the customer for the same. Effective ICA will protect you from field failure and warranty issues. So the key point you should take into account while performing interim containment action is the ICA should be done for all stocks available in the pipeline, whether it is at customer end, in transit, in finished good form, WIP, warehouse, or at the supplier end. Second is quality alerts should be displayed at appropriate location for proper communication within the team. The third is awareness to be provided to all operators and inspectors about the ICA activity done. The fourth is interim containment action should be done within 24 hours of problem reporting. The fifth is lot traceability should be ensured for material which has undergone the interim containment action. The fourth step in the AD problem solving is D4, and it is related to root cause analysis. In this step, measures are taken to find the actual root cause of the issue by selecting the right quality tool as per the complexity of the issue under analysis. Root cause analysis is done on three fronts: occurrence, escape, and system. For occurrence, we develop possible root cause for the occurrence issue. For escape, we isolate and verify the location in the process where the effect of the root cause should have been detected or contained but was not. For system root cause, we determine the systemic issue which failed to identify and control the issue. There are several tools which can be used for root cause analysis, some of which are concentration diagram, 5Y, fishbone diagram, Pareto analysis, brainstorming, use of SPC tools, design of experiments, FMEA, and many more. Verification of root cause is done in two ways. First is passive verification, and second is active verification. In passive verification, you just observe the process without making any changes in it to identify the potential root cause. If you see there are no changes observed, then probably the cause you have identified as a root cause is not the correct one. In active verification, the root cause is tested by making it come and go using the variables identified as a cause. For doing the root cause analysis, you can start with by making a fishbone diagram and identify the causes across various categories of men, machine, material, method, and environment. This gives you the list of possible causes. The next stage is you have to test these possible causes by verifying them and observing that what are the significance of these causes. The causes which are identified as significant then undergoes 5 why analysis. This method will give you the actual root cause in the end. The fifth step in the AD problem solving is D5, and it is related to choose and verify the permanent corrective action. Once you have identified the root cause, there can be several actions possible to address the root cause. In D5, you select the best permanent corrective action to remove the root cause, the permanent corrective action to address the escape point, and to address the system failure. In D5, you verify that all decisions which you will be taking are successfully getting implemented. Now you have multiple permanent corrective actions which you can take for the same root cause. So how do you identify that which is the best permanent corrective action which you can take? You can take the support of this table to identify the best permanent corrective action. This has givens and wants. Givens are the mandatory requirements and wants are optional. You can rank the idea or your action in terms of these criterias. The action which has the best rating can be finally selected as the permanent corrective action for the root cause. The sixth step in the AD problem solving is T6, and it is related to implement and validate the permanent corrective action. It is the main planning stage to ensure that all hard work put in by the team results in a robust fix. In this, you implement permanent corrective action in a robust manner. The other important point to consider here is up till now your process was running in ICA. At this stage D6, you will be removing the ICA and implementing the PCA. A detailed time plan will be required for successful implementation of permanent corrective action. The seventh step in the AD problem solving is D7, and it is related to preventing reoccurrence. This is the most beneficial step in the whole process of AD because it prevents the problem from occurring again. Lessons learned from the investigation have to be captured for future reference. Third, it focuses on horizontal deployment because we know prevention is better than cure, and D7 steps provides the opportunity to share the knowledge and preventing problems on similar product or processes. The last step in the AD process is D8, which is related to recognize the team. In this, you recognize both the team and the individual efforts and facilitate a satisfactory closure. The activities involved in D8 are archiving of documents and customer agreed closure, before and after comparison for future reference, and if PPAP is required, G8D is not closed until PPAP documentation is approved. Recognize both team and individual contributions. This activity helps in the motivation of the employees for the job successfully done. To summarize the 8D steps, let's go through it again. D0 step talks about preparing of the global AD process. D1 talks about establishing the team. D2 talks about describing the problem. D3 talks about developing the interim containment action. D4 talks about defining and verifying the root cause and escape point. D5 talks about choosing and verifying the permanent corrective actions. D6 talks about implementing and verifying the permanent corrective action. D7 talks about preventing reoccurrence. And D8 finally recognizing the individual and group contribution. Now let's see how a AD report looks like. At the top, you have general information section where the customer name, details about the part and the quantity rejected and at risk is mentioned. Then you have the D0 symptom where you need to define the symptom, the emergency response action taken, the verification and validation done. In D1, you establish the team. In D2, you describe the problem into what, where, when, how big. Then in D3, you take ICA. You find how many quantity are okay, how many are not okay, who was responsible for doing that activity, the verification and validation done for the ICA. Then in D4, you identify the root cause for occurrence and escape, who is responsible, what is the verification done. In D5, you select the permanent corrective action for occurrence and escape, the verification done, and the acceptance and rejection status. In D6, you implement the permanent corrective action, who will do it, when it will be done, and the status for it. And then finally, which all documents needs to be updated, like DFMEA, drawing, PFMEA, control plan, process instruction, training metrics, or some other document. Finally, in D7, you prevent reoccurrence of the similar part and process. You take action for occurrence, escape, and systemic issue. You define what all actions has been taken and who is responsible for that. And finally, in D8, you recognize the team and individual contribution. And finally, the AD report is closed and approved by the AD champion along with concurrence of the customer. So friends, with this I have come to the end of this knowledge sharing session. Hope you liked it. Do subscribe my YouTube channel to get latest updates of my upcoming YouTube videos. See you soon. Till then, keep learning, keep sharing. Cheers.